The Bad Boys podcast is brought to you by Iconic Motor House, the guys making your motoring fantasies a reality. Visit iconicmotorhouse.com. Today on the show, we get political with the Russian boycott and the Ukraine war.
Good Girls Gone Bad, we put out the podcast challenge.
And revenge porn. Do we even need to say any more?
All that and more on the Bad Boys podcast. If you want the hard-hitting journalism of Four Corners, the reliable current affairs of, well, a current affair, and the planning that goes into classy shows like The Project, then you've tuned into the wrong podcast. It's comedy, entertainment, celebrity interviews, and news stories that makes Fox News sound like an episode of The Muppets. Or maybe it's the other way around. Conversations no one wants to have, but everyone wants to hear. This is the Bad Boys Podcast. Welcome to the Bad Boys Podcast. What were you saying during the introduction? You were mouthing something to me.
I figured out what your dancing reminds me of.
What?
It reminds me of Elon Musk dancing.
Have you seen him dance, have you?
Yeah, he tries dancing every time he does like a little kind of presser or a big presentation and stuff like that. And which, look, honestly, him dancing, it's probably similar to one of those big baboons getting electrocuted with high voltage.
Or that monkey with the seagull.
Yeah, but it wasn't the monkey, it was the seagull.
Being patted around. One person I haven't seen dance is Putin.
He seems like a little bit too much of a serious little twit, if you ask me. And look, for a guy who seems to have the biggest army in the world, so to speak, or the most ferocious or the most fearsome, he can't even beat a bunch of people, everyday people, not even with weapons. They don't have weapons. They've got Molotov cocktails.
Bloody hell. So what's going on? Look, I purposefully have been sort of not watching it too much.
Yeah, look, I've got a bit of a vested interest because I had a team, quite a sizable team, helping me with my business endeavours a few years back, and they were all based out of the Ukraine. Yeah. And when I'd go and do some filming and all that sort of stuff and interviews, I'd fly over to Poland. We'd hang out at the Bristol, beautiful hotel there in Poland, and do all of our filming and everything there. And they're really, really beautiful people, remarkable people.
Yeah.
So the funny thing is, I don't understand the Russian government. And I just want to clarify, any comments I make about this discussion is not about the Russian people. The Russian people themselves are actually beautiful people as well.
Yeah.
Remarkable people, in fact. All my comments are all about Putin and his government.
Yeah.
And, just the shit show that it is.
Yeah.
He invaded Ukraine. And to say that it has been a hilarious shit show from a Russian perspective, I mean, the tragedy behind it all, the people innocent people getting killed, he's called several ceasefires to allow humanitarian corridors and stuff so people escape, but does not stop bombing.
Yeah.
Everything he has done, he has lied every single step of the way. He even lied to his troops to get them there. And when they arrived there, they realised that they'd been lied to, and a lot of them gave up. Mm. They stopped their machines or their tanks from working and all that sort of stuff, and they surrendered. There is a convoy 64 kilometres long, like 64 kilometres long convoy of Russian tanks and supply trucks and all that sort of stuff. And the background to it is apparently the guys arrived. The Russian troops were told that they were liberating Ukrainian people from neo-Nazis, but they arrived, and those apparently Ukrainian people that needed to be liberated were stopping the tanks. They literally were stepping in front of them by the hundreds and stopping them moving forward. And the Russians are trying to figure out why are we getting pushback here? We were supposed to be welcomed with cups of tea and sandwiches and all that sort of stuff. But as it turns out, the logistic exercise, because quite genuinely, Putin thought they would roll into Ukraine. Ukraine would throw their hands in the air and literally within 24 hours they would take control of the country. That's what Putin genuinely thought. So he didn't organise fuel. He didn't organise food for the Russian troops.
No.
The simplest of stuff that you would think about when waging a war, he hadn't thought about. And it's been nothing but an absolute shit show since. There was a big ship. So a big part of the Russian Navy came on board, and I think we mentioned this in the previous show, came on board a southern island and was saying, this is a Russian ship, you need to surrender the island and all that sort of stuff. The Ukrainians were heard quite clearly on radio saying, Russian Navy, go fuck yourself. And it all went viral. Apparently then the Russians blasted them from the face of the earth and they all died, but they hadn't. They'd in fact actually been taken captive. Since then, that Russian ship has actually been sunk.
Right.
The numbers of the fallen in the Russian army are somewhere around 12,000 Russian army people have been killed. They've lost hundreds of helicopters, 40-something fighter jets, 590 tanks, supply ship, all of it has all been just wiped from the face of the earth as far as the Russians are concerned. And look, Ukraine has taken their hit too, but I think the real tragedy is the fact that Ukraine have lost a lot of civilian lives because Putin is indiscriminately bombing schools, hospitals, apartment blocks all over the country. And he's using thermobaric weapons as well. A thermobaric weapon is a very, very powerful bomb that actually sucks in all of the oxygen from around it, which gives it a bigger and longer explosion. But by sucking all the oxygen in, it literally removes the oxygen from its explosion environment, which means people's lungs that are in that area, their lungs explode and various other things as well.
Wow.
It's awful, awful, awful stuff.
So their lungs explode before it blows up, basically.
Pretty much. And the way the world has rallied behind the Ukrainians, the Polish people are going, why aren't there refugee camps on the Ukraine-Polish border to the west of Ukraine? And that's because Polish people just go, no, forget the camp, come and live in our homes with us. And all those refugees, over 1.5 to 2 million refugees have been housed in neighbouring countries, not in tents at a refugee camp, which just goes to show the beauty of the people in that region. But look, and one big thing that's been going on is the sanctions. So the European Union, because Ukraine isn't technically part of the European Union, I thought they were, but they're not. They're not part of NATO. So NATO can't apparently step in and the European Union can't step in. Now, I call bullshit on that. They can't step in. They don't want to. And the reason being is Putin is so unhinged and has been losing his mind, so to speak. They're worried that he will actually press the nuclear button. That's what they're really worried about. Yeah. And Putin has one particular type of weapon at his disposal, but the others don't. And it is a thermonuclear weapon that actually has a whole bunch of other nuclear bombs inside it as well. And it can dismember itself midair and drop, a dozen nuclear warheads. And if Hiroshima was 15 kiloton bomb, this particular bomb is 750 kilotons. And that's what Russians have at their disposal, and that's what Europe and everybody's really worried about.
So what do you say to the people, like, you see on Facebook the conspiracy theorists that say that the US is behind it all, and and I think Trump actually got up and said, "Oh, good on you, Putin, for doing this." I mean, what do you say to all of that?
Yeah, okay. So there is a conspiracy theory going around that Ukraine houses, I think, 12 or 15 US Defense Department biolabs, and that Defense Department has paid Ukraine to create these labs and to develop bioweapons. Right. Now, I have seen some stuff on the crazy Facebook angle and all that sort of stuff that suggests that did happen, that those things were contracted to be built. Whether they were actually built, I don't know. I don't think that Putin is in fact doing what they're saying, as in the reason for the war is to actually destroy those biolabs particularly, because in all honesty with you, I think he would have told the world that if that was the case, and he hasn't. Yeah. So I think, it's like people claiming that these floods that we've had down the eastern coast of Australia are part of weather engineering.
Yeah, I know. I heard that. And I mean, look, you know what? Like, I saw a photo the other night of it was almost like a tornado or a hurricane centered above sort of Lismore, northeast coast. And I've never seen anything like that before in my life.
Right. So East Coast lows have been happening for as long as, rainfall records have been kept and all that sort of stuff. I've seen them myself, and they do work in a circular motion, and they do work their way down the coast, and sometimes they do it very, very slowly. I've seen it before it happens. Cloud seeding, which is a thing and does happen, and it's the spraying of metals in the sky and all that sort of stuff. Just research cloud seeding and stuff. This isn't a crazy conspiracy theory. It does happen, and it does happen around that Gold Coast region and all that sort of stuff. Cloud seeding can turn a low-pressure system into something that will deliver rain.
Right.
But a cloud seeding is not going to create the type of rainfall that we have had.
Yeah. It's crazy rain.
One thing I'm loving, getting back to the Ukraine war, I'm loving the fact that people have been rallying behind Ukraine, and not just people, but also big business and corporations. So there's been a lot of boycotts, effectively. I mean, Russia has effectively been cancelled. Talk about cancel culture taking its aim. It's taken its aim at Russia, and it's happened in a very, very large way. So first of all, the European Union and America, that's, locked all the assets of the mega rich and the oligarchs and Putin and his men, locked all of their assets down, so they can't get their money and they can't, get onto their boats. Some of them got wind of it and already got their boats out. And I'm not talking about a couple of tinnies here. I'm talking, $100 million yachts, super yachts. But even the likes of, and European Union and Australia and a few other countries and stuff have also switched Russia off from the SWIFT banking systems, which means international transfers cannot happen in and out of Russia at all, which in itself is a massive, massive thing and never, ever been done before. Visa, MasterCard have pulled out. McDonald's, Starbucks, Coca-Cola, Pepsi, they've pulled out of business in there. Heineken, Shell, BP, ExxonMobil have stopped buying and selling Russian oil, so they're closing down their interests of Russian oil. Technology houses, Apple, Microsoft, Adobe, Samsung, you name it, Google, Uber, Sober, they've all shut down their services and stuff. American Express, big companies, PwC, KPMG, Ernst & Young, all closed their offices over there as well, separated their partnerships out. Amazon, retail, imagine how much business they'd be doing in Russia as well. They've shut up shop. IKEA. I'm just naming just a couple that are coming to mind right at the moment. Even motoring groups, Harley Davidson, Honda, General Motors, Aston Martin, Volkswagen, BMW, Mercedes. They've all stopped selling in Russia as well.
Jeez.
So UPS, FedEx, DHL, so all the deliveries have stopped.
It's like the corporation war, World War III, the corporation war.
Well, see, the fascinating thing here, right, this is really interesting. Putting the genocidal maniac aside.
Yeah.
Right? I understand why they're doing this, because they're trying to, all these corporations, the governments, the banking system, all that, they're trying to shut it all down to cripple the country.
Yep.
So that the government can't function anymore. They can't buy weapons. They can't get money moved around, all that sort of stuff. What money they had in their bank accounts have all been locked, so they can't access it. And this is the big guys.
That's clever.
The problem is also affects the millions and millions of good, honest citizens that actually are as much against this war as the rest of us are. Look, but what's the alternative?
But unfortunately, it could plunge Russia back into communist society again.
Oh, look, it's entirely possible. Yeah, look, it is entirely possible. The other thing that could happen is it could create a massive coup and they could overthrow Putin and all the rest of it. I think people are sick of it. The problem is Putin's been ruling with an iron fist for so long and has a lot of people very, very scared of what he's capable of, and I think they deserve to be scared, as in I would be too.
You know what? The Aussies are doing their bit as well, I've got to say. And, it may not be to the level of McDonald's, but it's up there, right? Woolworths has just announced that they're supporting Ukraine by changing the name of the chicken Kiev. That's true story. They are changing that. No longer will it be known as the chicken breast Kiev, Kiev. They're changing it to chicken Kyav. Subtle.
Yeah, chicken Kiev.
Subtle, but effective.
Yeah, look, if anything's going to stop the war, it's going to be that. And look, my hat goes off to Woolworths. I mean, you've really pulled a rabbit out of a hat there. I think that is going to make a real difference.
Some marketing genius somewhere in Woolworths has gone, I've got an idea.
You know who I reckon it was?
Who?
I reckon it was Scotty from marketing.
Scotty from marketing.
I think he came up with that brilliant idea.
We can change 2 letters here. 2 letters, right. Get rid of the I, get rid of the E, put a Y and an A in. I tell you what, it's going to be a winner. It'll help the Ukrainians win that war.
Right, and it's only going to cost you $42 million.
Absolutely. So there you go, people. Go out and buy your chicken Kiev.
I mean, look, don't get me wrong.
Is that how you pronounce it, Kiev?
Yeah, look, I'm not even going to try and pronounce it properly because I'm going to get it wrong because I'm really shit at that sort of stuff. I think it's Kiev.
Kiev.
But I'm almost certain I've got that wrong. Look, I'm glad everybody's doing their little bit.
Yes.
You know, the one thing that went viral was people were hiring Airbnbs in Ukraine, knowing they couldn't get in there, knowing they weren't going to use it, but it's their way of donating money to someone on the ground because nobody wants to donate to Red Cross.
Yeah,
they don't want to donate to the big guys because what happened in the bushfire, they got $60 million and only $5 million was actually spent on the purpose that people gave it to them for, and the rest was distributed elsewhere. Yeah. So, and I won't be donating to Red Cross or anything like that because of that exact reason.
Well, look, whatever you can do to support the Ukrainians at the moment, they all need it, and even just thinking about them every now and then is going to help send them some positive vibes.
Right. You know? And I'm actually a little surprised that there isn't a bounty on Putin's head because I reckon there's a guard lurking in the background there that's just thinking, you know what, I could probably cash in here if I'm lucky, but I might wait for that bounty to be announced.
Possibly. Hey, speaking of incredible bounties, there is a very nice little bounty happening at the moment with iconic Motorhouse.
Yeah.
A very nice VE-R8 Clubby. Now,
this thing is beautiful. It is so beautiful. And more to the point, it's also a HDT special. So the guy who does, Kurt, the guy who does all of the iconic interiors, not only is he well known throughout the entire industry as being the best of the best of the best, but he's also the only guy that does HDT, Holden Dealer Team, customization packages. And so this particular VE HSV R8 Club Sport, it is a particular type of silver. It's got some beautiful 22-inch colour-coded Simmons wheels on it. The custom Maya design interior worth $15K, coilover suspension, LED lighting upgrade, extensive engine modifications, cam package, OTR stall converter, full exhaust system, engine tune. This thing is beautiful, and you can get entries for as little as $20. And by going to Iconic Motor House, it's HAUS, iconicmotorhouse.com, and entering. This is going to be drawn within a month.
Drawing
so
on
I
the
believe
10th,
it's the 10th of April.
Yes.
Is being drawn. If you go to iconicmotorhouse.com, you can buy your ticket packages right at the moment, and I guarantee this, you will have better odds entering this one than you will any other type of car giveaway thing that they're doing, because I know the numbers at the moment are limited to 15,000 entrants.
10,000. And 10,000 entrants.
Yes, you're right. Drawing on 10th of April, limited to 10,000 entrants only. I've never seen odds like that before. Never.
Good.
You know, all the other ones that are doing it and stuff like that, there are millions and millions and millions of entrants.
I won Lotto last night. $11.70 I got.
Really? Wow, man, that's a free burger for you.
I know. It's half another Powerball ticket.
Wow, mate. Just don't spend it all at once.
I'll try not to. I'll try not to. So make sure you head over to Iconic Motor House, get one of your 10,000 tickets. There's only 10,000 there. Drawing on the 10th of April, head over to iconicmotorhouse.com. That's HAUS.com. This is the Bad Boys Podcast. Welcome back to the Bad Boys Podcast. And you had an interesting thing the other day you were going through, and you realised that there was a couple of other Bad Boys podcasts out there. And we started thinking about the names of podcasts. And I started doing some research. I thought to myself, wouldn't it be good if the Bad Boys had a bit of a versus with the Bad Girls, or even better, the Good Girls?
Well, okay. So, first of all, that worries me. Because if we were going toe-to-toe with a bunch of bad girls, it's entirely possible they're badder than we are.
Possibly.
And it's going to make us look like a bunch of girls. And two, they might even be smarter than us as well, which probably wouldn't be that difficult either.
Well, it depends. They all talk about different things, right? And there's quite a few Good Girls podcasts out there.
Right.
You know?
And look, hey, we all love a good girl, particularly when she wants to get all bad.
I was wondering where you're going with that one. So, okay.
I was trying to keep it PG. I don't know why I never have before, but anyway.
So I thought, okay, let's go through
be
some of the shows and see.
Okay.
Okay, so there's
Tell me what they are.
The Good Night Stories for Rebel Girls, which are
Good night stories
telling
for Rebel girls. Oh.
good night stories. It says it's for kids and
But do
family.
they explain what those good night stories are? Like,
well, I don't know. It's kids and family, so it can't be too bad.
right.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's the Good Girls Get Rich podcast.
Okay.
Yeah, kind of.
It sounds like a business thing.
Sounds like a bit boring. What about the Good Girls Talk About Sex?
Now you're talking.
I think they might be talking about sex in their podcast.
So
Just
it's entirely
as a bit of a
likely. And
guess.
look, if they're Catholic good girls and stuff like that, I reckon they're going to be turning up their head a little bit. We all know what a good Catholic girl does.
Yeah. But then there is the Good Girls podcast, which is just the Good Girls podcast. And they talk about sex, celibacy, which, goes hand in hand, I suppose, health, love, healing, all the things that we want to know. Would they want to talk
Good
with us?
on them. Good on them. It sounds like a very wholesome podcast
It's
for
very
those
wholesome.
people that want more wholesome things in their life.
What about the Good Girls Go Green?
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, I'm assuming that isn't a bunch of girls out on a Bridezilla weekend getting absolutely shit-faced until they end up by throwing up their black sample girl all over the garden bed.
That is not it.
Okay.
No, it's an environmentally friendly one. Then there is the Two Girls, One Crossword podcast, which, I mean, fuck me, seriously.
Look, I haven't listened to it. I've got nothing against them, but I'm sorry. I don't think just based on the name, I'll be reaching for that one.
And then the final one, the Girls Who Read Good podcast.
The girls who read good, poor English bad.
Speak well.
Fuck.
No. So, look, you know what? We're going to put a challenge out there. If you've got a Good Girls podcast and you think you can go toe-to-toe with the Bad Boys, we want to hear from you. And we're going to...
Well, even if you've got a Bad Girls podcast and you want to go toe-to-toe with us, bring it on, I say.
Yeah, Good Girls,
look, we could all
Bad
do
Girls.
with a good laugh, even if it is at our expense.
we kind of went Good Girls because we thought Bad Girls, could be dangerous for us.
Badder.
But hey, you know what? We're game. We're there. We'll talk about anything. We'll go anywhere in our conversation. Anyway. Oh dear.
Oh, yowzers.
So we're going to put up some posts and you'll be on our page. We want to hear from you. We want to bring you guys, or you girls, I should say you girls, on the show, and just have a bit of a chat. Do a bit of a Good Girls versus the Bad Boys podcast. That'd be quite interesting.
Right. And
say
look,
the least.
even, let's just put it out there as well. If you're a bunch of girls and you want to get the girls together on a regular occasion and talk shit the way we do, or even the way you want to, it doesn't have to be the way we do, and if you ever thought of creating your own podcast, reach out to us. Of course, we can help you.
Yep.
Bad Boys Media, we are a podcasting media company. We can help you set everything up, get everything produced, released, monetized, all that sort of stuff. If that's something you want to do and you want to kick off, bring it on. I'd love to hear your ideas and stuff like that. And
absolutely,
we can help you make it happen.
Absolutely. Make sure you, just get in contact with us on our Facebook page, and we can have a bit of a chat with you about it. So I made a mistake. I put Bad Girls in the Google search bar instead of the podcast search bar.
There goes your algorithms.
So I think my algorithm.
It's usually bad pugs or something, isn't it?
Well, I think my algorithm's already fucked because the other night, our cat's getting a little old, right? She's just look. She's what, 16 now? I mean, like,
oh, you didn't.
That's
did
pretty
you?
old, right? So,
did you Google old pussy again?
No, worse.
Oh no!
So,
old
the other night we were sitting there and it's like, wow, it smells like cat wee or something. And I mean, I feel sorry for her. She's obviously misjudged, and it's on her. And I thought to myself, she doesn't take care of herself.
Over herself
anymore,
yet. It happens
right?
to the best of us, really.
Normally she'll lick herself. It's gonna get the algorithm's really gonna go fucked up here. So, because you're going to search for at what age do you stop licking pussies? Anyway, it just really messed up the algorithms. It really doesn't matter what you say right now, what type of search you put in there. If it involves smelly, old, pussy, it's going to be bad. So I could be getting anything for the next 2 months. I'll be getting ads that I just will be like, oh really? I really don't want to see that.
Hey, next time, just cut to the chase, mate, and just look up the GILF dating site and you'll be fine. Dating for GILF hunters. Wow. So your pussycat's not doing all that well. That's really sad.
That is sad. It is sad.
Tell me, do your animals cross... Do your animals kind of cross bathe each other and stuff like that? Like, does your pug lick your pussy all the time, or
no? But pugs have a very interesting feature that I'll mention on this podcast because it's choice, if I can use that term. If it hears,
you don't want to know where my mind's going.
If it hears the cat in the kitty litter tray, its ears prick up and it goes, chocolate treaties.
Oh, yeah, no.
And if you don't get that kitty litter in time, she is over there just hoeing down on whatever she can find. And I tell you what, it's
a
just
little pussycat ass cookie.
She walks back, and as she's walking back, she's crunching on cat crystals. They're falling out of her mouth. It's just like, wow.
Oh, yeah, but it reminds me when I first arrived at the farm. This is 2010. Had 2 dogs, a beautiful border collie called Sarah, who has since left us, and a little terrier called Paddy.
Yeah.
Anyway, we arrived at the farm, let them out of the car because they'd been in a bit of a car trip. Go and have a run around, guys. Go and fill your boots. Sarah found her way, my border collie found her way to the old dairy. So it was a very old farm. There was an old late 1800s dairy, which is the most beautiful piece of thing in incredible condition.
Yeah.
Anyway, tucked in there was a cow pat that we estimated was somewhere between 40 to 50 years old.
Oh,
this thing
nice.
Was the size of a dinner plate and was like cement. Like it was literally the Anzac cookie of the century.
She could chew on that forever.
Oh, and she did. She walked out of this thing literally struggling to lift it up. It was that heavy and it was that big. Trotted all the way through to the back door. And I went, you're not bringing that into the house. So then she sat there. And this was thing like the never-ending lollipop. She licked that for days and days and days and days.
Gotta love animals, eh? Gotta love them.
Love animals.
Hey, speaking of animals, we'll be back with in a minute. We're going to be talking about revenge porn. And, you'll hear it right here on Bad Boys Podcast. If you like your nuts being gently cupped by an angel, then Man Up Down Under are the duds for you. Environmentally friendly with bamboo inserts that are soft, strong, and lifts your weight with ease. Longer in the legs so they stay put. They're cool in summer and warmer when it matters. Man Up Down Under, underwear your girl will want to see you in and that you won't want to take off. Go to manupdownunder.com.au and buy a week's supply for your package because your junk deserves the very best. This is the Bad Boys Podcast. There's been a report that's come out which talks about, they call it sextortion. Have you ever heard of sextortion?
Well, I know what extortion is, and that is effectively holding something very negative, very harmful over someone to get them to do something that you want them to do. It's like it's blackmail.
Yeah. Well, this is doing exactly the same, but with porn. It's with porn tapes that you might have done.
Right. So you're taking photos of your girlfriend when you were together, and then when they break up.
Yeah, or videos or
threaten to send them out or something.
Yeah.
Right.
Have you ever done a homemade porn video?
I've never done one that's ever been released. And there's probably good reason for that because I'd probably get arrested for it, mostly for being so fucking bad. I will say one thing, though. There was not a mustache in sight. Not a fucking single mustache.
Wow, really?
Well, not on a person's face anyway. I mean, there's some pretty hairy
things happening.
Sorry, I'm loser. No, I have never made a porn movie or anything like that. Most of all, nobody wants to see that sort of shit, least of all me.
See, you notice that I asked you and that you didn't ask me because, I think I've
already seen your shit all over Pornhub. Actually, it's usually on Grindr and stuff like that, actually. But
bullshit. See, out of the two of us, you would win most likely to create a porn tape.
Oh, look, I wouldn't be surprised by that. Yes, I wouldn't be surprised by that. Yep.
No. So, look, in all seriousness, though, it is something that you should think twice about. There's a story that's just come out about this girl that was with a guy, and they'd obviously made a porn tape, and she left the guy, and they broke up, and he said. She was a bit concerned, and she said, that porn tape, don't ever show anyone. No, it's just for me, he said. Well, I mean, that in itself is just creepy, knowing that he's got a porn tape and you're no longer with him.
Right.
Okay. So she said, I want you to delete it. And he said, all right, I promise I will. 6 months later, she started going out with someone else, and he found out about it. So he threatened to send the video to her boss, who was an elderly gentleman that would probably have a heart attack if he received something like that on his email.
What a creep.
Now,
I mean, really?
I mean, firstly, who does that for a start, right?
Well, but I said in the last episode, at our last episode, I made the point that men are all Neanderthals, and whenever we see boobs, blah, 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 we think nom, 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 and all that sort of stuff. The point I was trying to make in that is that men are Neanderthals because they're unintelligent, incapable of serious thought or adding value and all that sort of stuff. And I'm talking about the vast majority of men. Now, clarifying that, 99.9% of men can actually go most of their life without being creeps, without being dickheads, and without being losers and all the rest of it. There is a small group, like there is in any subset of any part of society, male, female, Christian, whatever, of creeps that fuck around. Like I get really angry at the way guys treat women online. I really have. I lose my shit. You see articles every single day of some dickhead having a go at a woman because she won't respond to his bloody message and stuff. And you know what, mate? You're only proving why she's not responding to you.
Exactly, yeah, exactly.
If as a guy you cannot keep your dick in your fucking pants, it doesn't matter what she wears. It doesn't matter how she looks. If you think that she is provoking you into raping her and stuff like that by the way she's dressing, I'm sorry, mate, you need it cut off. End of story.
Yeah.
And look, if you want to threaten a girl and stuff by sharing nudes of her and stuff like that, all due respect, you need to be locked up.
Now, we've been watching that Pam and Tommy movie, a TV show, right? Which actually shows how they did something that they thought was private and it was violated by someone, right? Now, okay, Tommy didn't treat this person right, and so it was like a revenge to, he got hold of the video and shared it out, and started selling it. So it was a revenge against Tommy, but it affected Pam, right? Yeah. And there's one scene that really hits home, right, where Penthouse got a hold of the video and were going to run photos from it, and they were going to put it on, on their site and all of that. So Pam took them to court because she had been on Playboy. They thought, court decided it was fair game. Public. Now, if a woman decides to go on to bear herself on Playboy, right, and that is her decision, right, that is completely their decision. It's got nothing to do with it certainly doesn't open up the opportunity for exploitation, right? If someone does something like this in a video and it's private, then it remains private. The moment that it goes public, that's a complete A, violation of trust, and B, violation of someone's rights.
Right. Yep.
I mean, I think first and foremost, don't do it. If a partner that you haven't been with for very long says, "Hey, let's do a video," no.
Look, I mean, look, you've probably had the same discussion with your kids as I've had with my kids and stuff like that about what they post on social media isn't actually ever deleted or anything like that. It still sits there. It's still available to those who want to get their hands on it. But more to the point, don't take photos of your dick and send it to chicks because to be honest with you, they don't fucking want dick pics.
Yeah.
I mean, that's another modern stupid wankerism that just seems to be a thing, and I don't even understand how.
Yeah.
I mean, dicks are probably the ugliest things on the bloody planet. I mean, really, take a photo of a big shit and mashed potato and send them to that. They're probably going to want to see that more.
Exactly.
Right? So, and then two, don't do sexy shit on video and bloody send it to people and stuff like that because it's out there then. It'll end up on a porn site. And once that shit's on the internet, it's almost impossible to remove, if not impossible. Like, really.
Have you received emails, and these are some spam emails out there, but there are emails saying we now have your videos that you created on your phone.
It's the latest round of scams.
It's the latest one,
Yeah. So it's, it's the whole, we've got this video from your site and of course there's a link and you've got to click on the link because as soon as you click on the link, they start downloading all the stuff from your phone and all that sort of stuff and they've got you then. But, I met a girl
okay.
Once upon a time. And she had just very recently broken up from her man, her boyfriend of a while because he was creepy as fuck, right? She finally offloaded him. And then we bumped into each other soon afterwards and we hooked up. Anyway, he once bailed me up in a cafe, all angry and stuff. And he said to me, I've got photos of you and her. I won't use her name. I've got photos of you and her, getting it on and blah, blah, blah. And my first response, he didn't know how to respond. My first response was, do you? God, I'd love to see that. I bet you they're really hot. And he's looking at me thinking, what the fuck? And he's getting angry. He's like, but I've got photos and I'll release them and that. I said, oh, God, I hope you do, mate, because I could do with the extra hits on my Instagram and stuff like that. Just make sure you tag me, will you, mate, because the chicks, they're going to love that. And he just didn't know. He was a wanker and he didn't have bloody photos. He was just trying to be a threatening ass.
Yeah. And if you get emails or you get someone like that says, oh, I've got photos, don't believe them. Call their bluff.
No, and don't click on the fucking link either.
Oh, don't.
Really.
Don't, seriously. And if you see a post that someone has, done some incredible, that Mel Gibson has made $1 million on this particular product, Mel Gibson wouldn't give his photo to anyone to use. Don't click the link, for God's sake.
Right.
I did
The
get
amount
one.
of people they click that link and then suddenly their friends list suddenly gets,
Their whole
all
world
these posts
is
and they get
history.
locked out of their account and stuff like that. I actually block them. When it pops up and says, you've been tagged with 98 different people and stuff like that, and I go, all right, time to block this idiot because obviously they're a waste of oxygen and they just don't know the way it works.
I also got a post. I also got an email, which is the latest one going around, is about the grand piano. Have you seen the grand piano spam?
No.
This was an interesting one.
God, I'm feeling like I'm missing off. Maybe I'm not worthy enough for such extraordinary.
I know. Or
spam.
you keep on getting, penis extension,
dodgy Casio keyboard spam. No grand pianos. I mean, that's
like
fancy.
We've hijacked your webcam and we've been watching you masturbate in front of your computer. Exactly.
Yeah,
right.
that's right. Yeah. It's like
Send us Bitcoin to otherwise we'll release it to the world. It's like if someone wants to see that shit, go right ahead.
Right. Good luck to you.
No, this one is there's a lady, apparently it's a lady whose husband had passed away and he has a grand piano and they want to give it away for free. And because I'm known in music circles as a lover of musical instruments, which that rang alarm bells instantly because I don't know how to play an instrument at all to save myself.
Well, you're pretty good at the arse canoe.
That's good. That's good. Yeah, that's good.
Or the arse flute.
And so I'm thinking, what is this scam? Like, how do they make money? They're just giving us a piano. Then I find out they're shipping it to you. The shipping costs are going to be about $60,000 to send this masterpiece of a grand piano to you. Oh, hang on. I'll pay for that postage. Why not? That's only $60,000 spare cash for a grand piano. Why not?
For $1 million grand piano or something.
So, yeah, don't fall sucker for that one.
And look, if you get in touch with by a Nigerian bloody king or something like that trying to offer some money off and stuff like that, he's not real, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
Note to self.
What really shits me is the ones that see a tragedy that has happened and then they jump on the bandwagon, like, the floods in Queensland and New South Wales. Yeah. I will almost guarantee you that there's spam going around for that. Watch out for that. Anyway.
Even the follow-up fucking dickheads that knock on doors and go, I'll help you get this fixed. You just got to pay for part of it up front.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, anybody who pays for work up front actually deserves to get scammed, if you ask me. But the problem is usually naive, elderly people get caught up in it, and that's bullshit.
You know what? I was in the shopping centre the other day and walked past this car, and there's a notice on the car, and the car said, this particular guy, we have...
My mind went to so many different places, but go on.
We have been scammed by, and then they wrote his name. We paid him $2,000 for work that he said he was going to do on our house, and it was never done. And then they mentioned his name again. I thought, you know what? Good on you for letting people know. There should be more bloody posters and blog sites about these freaking scammers. Seriously, I'm over them.
Yeah.
I might start a blog site for a scammer I know.
Yeah, well, I tell you what, we need quite a few pages to be telling that story.
I'll do it. I'll put the pages up. Don't you worry about that. Why not?
And we've actually had people inquiring about that too on messengers and everything about when are we going to do the follow-up on the long con, and we will be. We're just waiting for, let's just say, a whole range of authority-based stuff to flow out, and then we'll definitely be following up on that and divulging the whole story.
Yeah, there may be an interview with the police involved. That'd be nice.
Oh, that's right. Yep.
Why not?
Yep.
Why not? Let's see what happens. Well, make sure you head over to our social media pages, which are on Instagram and Facebook, Official Bad Boys Podcast.
And if you want to listen to some bloody good music with loads of attitude, go to badboysfm.com where it's all happening.
It's there. Great new music too. Great new tracks that are coming up, and all of the latest tracks that you hear. We're going to be bringing in a lot more indie music. So if you want to register your song, make sure you click the link and send it over to us. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, everyone. Have a bloody great week.
Press plus or follow to hear more great episodes from the Bad Boys. Or check us out on our social media at Official Bad Boys Podcast on both Facebook and Instagram.